Hey everyone! I am so glad that you are here with me today. I am excited to start this project and be able to share it with you because it's very sentimental and it's very close to my heart. And I thought that this would be a really cute project because it's something that, for me personally, I think will be put to use and I'll be able to have my memories along with it. I was doing some reorganization. I came across my mom's old cookbook from the 1950s. And I also, a long time ago, she had given me her recipes, which are right here. And these are all her handwritten recipes that I have on the outside. The inside I haven't looked through yet. I'm hoping there's like some treasures and some goodies in there, but I'm very interested in the handwritten aspect. So I have hers, and then on top of that, she also gave me my grandmother's recipes that are all handwritten. And this is how my grandmother kept them, with a pin. Look at that, how she pinned it. And I don't know if there was more, but this is what survived. And again, it's in her handwriting. And I just think that that is just something, it's priceless. You're never, it's like irreplaceable in my book at least. So I wanted to create a vintage cookbook with both their recipes and what's better with the cookbook that my mother gave me. So that is what my project is going to be. And I'm also going to be using digital collage clubs. She's got the cutest vintage, it's called Mom's Recipe Journal Kit number 843. And you can actually, with the kit, I'll show you what I printed out. So with her images, she has all different types of embellishments that you can use and little journaling cards. But here is where you can cut it out and then you can fold it and you can actually just create a journal with the paper itself, which I think is just darling. But I am going to actually use the images and I want to put them in my book. And I love the fact that it's the 50s and vintage, and it just, for me, the whole scheme and theme goes together. So I printed those out, and then on top of the Mom's Recipe Journal Kit, I am going to use it's vintage polka dot paper pack, and it's number 131. And I printed out all the different colors, which I think are very retro, and I think they coordinate really well with the journal kit. You can see already. I mean, look at that. It's just perfect. And she also had, if you sign up for her club and the newsletter, she will send you, with the newsletter, sometimes she'll have like images that are free. And this was one of them. So for the sake of time, I just cut it out. And it's a little boy hugging his mom, and she's got a wooden spoon and an apron, and he's hugging her, and it's like, oh, thanks mom for the cookies or whatever. And I think it's darling, so I'm going to use that somewhere in it. And we'll do that together. So I want to start off with the cover because this is too plain for me. And I was thinking, obviously it's vintage. What am I going to do? You'll alter it with paper or whatever. But I decided I wanted to take this is actual vintage material. And I hand stitched it, so you can see here the vintage buttons and the little black X's that I've created. And by no means, I am not a sewer in any capacity. I just can do simple stitches or on the machine, a straight line. But it's fun because I don't expect it to be perfect, and I want it to look rustic. I want it to look vintage. I found these vintage buttons also, so I sewed them on. And so I kind of just created this collage from the little scraps of material that I had. So I'm going to adhere that to the front. And because it's my mom and my grandma, and it's personal to me, I wanted to create it a little bit more personal. So I printed out two pictures. One of my mother. This is my mom. Isn't she beautiful? This is when she was engaged to my dad. This was her engagement picture. And I want to put her onto the right there. And then this is my grandma. I love her smile. And she is going to be put over here on this side. So now it kind of gives it more of a personal theme and touch to it. And what we're going to do right now is decorate the cover. So I am going to adhere this down, and this isn't really too porous. I don't feel confident enough to use a glue gun on that, so I'm going to use, it's by Pioneer, and it's an embellishment glue stick. And this stuff, my friend turned me on to this, and it is just, it's great. It holds anything. It's like a glue stick, but it's so much better with the tackiness. I don't know, you'll have to try it out and just like experiment with it. But I'm going to put that right down here. And that, believe it or not, that's going to hold it. Takes a little while for it to get its strength, but it does. And then wherever you miss it, just go in and adhere it. Okay. And you have time and whatnot to be able to move it around. It actually works pretty good on the fabric, because if there's any wrinkles, you can stretch it. Okay. So now what I want to do is put their pictures on here. So I'm going to use the same thing, but on the back of the pictures, so they adhere well to the fabric. I don't want to use any type of wet glue because it'll just ruin the pictures. So put my mom down here. And then I've got my grandma. And we've got our placement. Okay. Isn't that cute? And there's probably a glare from the lights. Sorry about that. All right. Now what I want to do is, because there's some black in here, I've got the black threading and the black and white photos, I want to put some washi tape on. So let's get that put on. I'm thinking I want to do like a border underneath. Okay, and then I want to do another strip. I think I'm going to put this down here. Then I have some vintage trim, yellow, to pop the yellow in the flowers. And I think I'm going to put that there. And then I have another vintage strip that I think I'm going to put here. Now this, you can probably hot glue, because you can put fabric on fabric and a glue would work pretty well. But I'm going to just use my embellishment glue stick here. And if it's not as sticky as I want it to be, or it's not adhered as well as I want it to be, then I'll just put some glue in it. But for the sake of time, we're going to put that on here. Isn't that darling? Love it. Love it, love it. All right, and then we'll do this bottom one. All right. And I'll go back later and I'll check to make sure that all of that is adhered properly and it holds well. Okay, so now, don't like this gap here. And I kind of had to have this laid out so I had my visual as to placement and where I wanted to put things. So I started thinking, what could I put in the middle? And I didn't want to add any more buttons because then it starts to take away from your focal point, which is the pictures. And I have a bunch of chipboard that I have accumulated. So it looked like this, just the, raw type of chipboard. And what I did was I painted it teal, and I used Peacock Teal by Americana acrylic paint. And I painted the heart, and then I took a Sharpie, white Sharpie pen, and this one is water-based, not the oil. And I just went around the edges like this, and I kind of distressed it so it pops that white. Okay. And then I took these, I'm sure at some point in a crafter's life, somewhere you have purchased these. These are those little peg alphabet stamps. That's what they look like. And I stamped out family right here. And I just put that, I am going to put that in the middle. Now, somewhere here on my desk, I printed out the word recipes, and I'm going to put that right here. But at the moment, it has escaped me, but we'll go back in later and we'll put that down. So I think that that's what I'm going to do for the cover. And I'm sure I can white glue this. And that will hold pretty well since we have already have a good porous space with the fabric for it to stick to. So we're going to put that here. Okay. And I also had a little button. And now that seemed to disappear, but we'll go back and do that because I'm sure as I go through my pile over here, I'll find it. So this is what I came up with for the cover, and I just absolutely love it. Now on the inside, what I would like to do is start to use some of these pages. Oops, sorry. I'd like to use some of these pages, and I had this really cool, it's like a fabric. You can maybe hear it and see it with the texture of some cherries. And I love anything with cherries. It just always reminds me of the 50s, the retro. So what I would like to do is put this going down the, like the, a border going down like the margin here. And now, I'm looking for my scissors. Here they are. Let's measure that out. Cut that. And I think I'm also going to use that embellishment glue for this. So, when I was a kid, my grandmother would come to our house all the time, and the one that is featured on the front, and she was Hungarian. She was pure 100% Hungarian, and I'm a huge genealogist, and I traced my entire family, both my mom and dad's sides, right down to the motherland of where we have our family generates. And my grandmother came, well, she was born here, but my great grandfather, which is her father, came over through Ellis Island. I tracked him coming through there and coming in to be a citizen. Well, later he became a citizen. So she grew up in a family where you baked and you cooked, and I mean, it was a different time, a different when. And that was how I grew up with her, because she was always in the kitchen. And I remember Christmas time, always making wonderful cakes, and just hours and hours and hours in the kitchen, and the aromas that came out of the kitchen, and it was just wonderful. And even like Thanksgiving, and it was just great. And my grandmother always cooked. All my aunts, all her sisters, they always cooked, they always baked, and I have such fond memories of that. So this is just something that kind of like transports me back in time. And my mom was a great cook too. She cooked up a storm, and she learned from her mom, and her mother-in-law, my other grandmother. And tell you what, when we were kids, we had some great food and family time together, and holidays. So I'm going to use this now as a margin, and I thought the black and the red goes really nice with the yellow, and it has yellow in here too, so that'll kind of like bring it out. And then in the beginning of the book, it has such wonderful graphics. Look at this graphic. I mean, look at the colors. Oh, I just think that that's fabulous. So I want to keep this page in here, because I can definitely do something with that. So I want to start here in the front, and with Digital Collage Club's, let me get my printouts here. She has this one, which is just, look at this image. It's just darling. And when I was printing them out, you have to make sure you do, like, if you're doing the image fully, you have to have a full page. Well, I didn't hit full page. I didn't know that at the time. So I printed one out, and it kind of got cut off. So instead of throwing it out, I just fussy cut around it. So like over here, this part is cut off a little bit, which is no big deal. I don't personally care, but I didn't want to throw it out because of the fact that it's just too cute. I want to use it. So what I want to do, put this over here. We're going to start on this, and I gotta get a hole punch. Okay. I have this paper that I thought would be really cute, and I'm going to adhere that. So what I'm going to do is just go around the border here. And this I'm using liquid glue on, because this is a thicker type of paper. It's not thin, so I'm not really worried about it getting too saturated, and then it becomes like wet and you get bumps and lumps in it. I'm not too worried about that on that one. So we're just going to adhere this. Well, actually, you know what? I want that tab to stick out over here. So we're going to adhere it like this. Put that right on. And then I'm just going to go around and trim it. Okay. And just make sure you get those edges down. And then if you're ever covering or altering anything like on this side and you want it to go back in the binder, make sure you have the other side available. And then I just take my hole punch and punch those holes. So now we can get that back into the binder. And then we can, well, I'm going to keep the graphics on this side, but if you were to alter this side, then you have the holes on this side, and then you would just punch it again, so you would have both sides and you would be able to utilize it. So I want to use this funky woman. I just love her. So we're going to put her here. Then I had a bunch of little doodads that I don't know. I'm like look at this. Clam mushroom salad. Really? And it's green and it matches the green here and here. So I thought that would, I personally wouldn't eat that, but I like the colors. And then I had a guest check, like when you go to a restaurant. So I'm going to put that into here, behind there, kind of get my placement. And this was just like an embellishment from something I had. It was like a set, but I don't know. I keep millions of little things, and then somewhere down the line, you will eventually use it. Now, you know what? I don't want that there. I want this over here. So, and it has pink in it and green. I just thought that went wonderfully. And then we're going to put maybe this over here. Maybe like that. And I had these little doodads that I thought maybe we can stick, what do you think, right there? And then I had this little retro flower. I thought we can put that there, and this was another one of those fabric pieces, and I thought we can stick that there. And so it kind of like collages it. Now, what we have to do is glue that. So I would say take your top piece off, and then if you can keep your placement, just go around and glue your main parts down so you don't lose the placement. And you can always go back later if you need more glue, but a lot of times you'll place it and you'll go, oh, this is so great. And then you take it all apart and then you go back to place it and you're like, this is totally not how I had it in the beginning. That's kind of how I do it. If that helps you any. Just a little tip that I do. The bottom part here. Okay. And let's put her back down. And I'm going to flush her right to the side because I have that side that was cut off. So I'm going to bring that right to the other side. And then I'm going to take this little piece of fabric embellishment. It's almost like a canvas. It's really cool. It's got a lot of texture to it. And I'm going to stick that right there. All right. And then we're going to, I think we said we were going to put this over here. There. And then we're going to glue this down. All right. And try not to, if you cover up your holes, then you're going to have to go back and punch them again, which is no big deal, but just be mindful of it. And then we're going to take our little flower, little daisy. here. And there you go. There's our first page thus far in our vintage cookbook. And check out Digital Collage Club's website. She has an Etsy store. I will put a link down below in the description. And we're going to put this right up front. Okay, see, I need to follow my own rules. All right, let's punch a hole in there. And so now we can get it back in. And there's our first page. I'm probably going to cover this page because I don't like how this print looks with that print. But for now, with the video, I wanted to at least do a page with you and do the front cover. I have to find that recipe and the little button, and I'm going to put that on there. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm so excited to do this, and I will do another episode after this one, and we can create the book together. And I hope it inspires you to, you know, possibly look into some of the things that maybe you have at home. These things are priceless, and they're never going to be made again, and never in the quality and the just the way it was back then. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you'd like to subscribe, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. If you can tap that, it will notify you when I do new videos. And those that are subscribed, I always thank you so much for being subscribers. Have a great day, everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.